Chair Pro Tem Councilwoman Hawkins. Today I'm joined by my following committee members: Councilwoman Shanklin, Shamika's at, Councilmember Ken Herndon, Councilmember Jonathan Joseph, Councilmember Betsy Rui, Councilmember Jenny Mulvey Woolridge, and my colleague, Chair Sines has an excused absence, and my colleague, Councilman Piangentini, has an excused absence as well. And I believe that my colleague, Shamika Parrish White, either will be online. We are joined by my colleague, Councilwoman Donna Purvis. We are joined by my colleague, Andrew Owens, and Councilwoman Crystal Glass. Hey, y'all in the house today. That's right. Let's get started. Is that everybody? Did I miss anybody? All right. Clerk, will you please read the virtual meeting language, please?
This meeting is being held pursuant to KRS 61.826 and Council Rule 5A, read in full.
All right. Thank you, Clerk. We have 4 items on the agenda today. Clerk, please read the item number 1 into the record, please.
Community Violence Prevention Meeting Updates, R.A.C.E., read in full.
All right. We have a special discussion today. Community Violence Prevention Meeting Updates for R.A.C.E. All right. If you all want to state your name, your title for the record, and you can begin.
Can you hear me now? All right. I'm Norman Park. I'm the director of the R.A.C.E Initiative. And
my name is Ashley Johnson. I am the secretary for the R.A.C.E Collective.
All right. Would you all like to speak to your mission, please, or what this race is about?
all right. So R.A.C.E it stands for Real Alternative Community Engagement. And what it is that we all come out to the meeting that was put on by Councilwoman Hawkins and Councilman Herndon. And so just as concerned citizens living, dealing with the violence that we see going on, we come together and form this collective. And a lot of us have done work previously with each other prior to this and operated these spaces dealing with the violence that we see in the community. And we just took it upon ourselves to take on the call to action. And so with that, R.A.C.E was born out of a series of community meetings hosted by Councilwoman Hawkins and Councilman Herndon. We residents come together with a shared vision for real change. From those conversations, a group of us united to form R.A.C.E, the Real Alternative Community Empowerment. And we're a coalition dedicated to empowering youth, families, and communities, and urban communities through credible messages, community-led, holistic intervention and support. We bring together influencers, credible messages with real stories to motivate change, provide prevention and reentry support, and deliver wraparound services that uplift and organize our communities by focusing on mental health, spiritual, and social wellness. We create authentic alternatives to violence and pathways towards lasting empowerment. So that's just a little background.
I got a question to ask you. What made y'all feel like that you wanted to do this off the back of my community meetings? Like, what, made you feel like that that you were the chosen one?
Like I say, we've been operating these spaces and providing some of the work, with what we see going on, and it just was a call to action to us. Like the work we've been doing, and we just took it upon ourselves to collaborate and come together and try to fill a space that we see needed in our communities.
Okay, so I have another quick question for you. What neighborhood did you come up from, or I know you from, being outside myself. I'm outside a lot. And what area did you impact?
All right, I come out of the California neighborhood, Victory Park to be exact, and so yeah, that's where I come from. And with me, my background in this work comes from. I actually used to be one of the transmitters of violence, and I think what we seeing today, a lot of it comes from the kids mimicking what they seen us do. And me, honestly, I just feel you have to come from it to be able to speak to it. And I think with a lot of the work that the city's been doing, I just feel like it needs to be more community led by those that come from it. And so with what we did, we come together and bring together people from all walks of life, different communities, and just more of a community-led approach. And as you can see with the turnaround that's been done in Victory Park, for example, the community bought into the change that was led by me. And it just comes from really when I had my kids, I started looking at life through a different lens, and it becomes, what do I want my kids growing up in? How do I want my kids to remember me and what I done? And so, from looking at that, and we get together with members of the community, like the elders, the teenagers. They all come in and bought into the idea of we want better for for where we live at. And so the community, slowly come around and taking on the initiative with operating these changes in these communities and developing partnerships with different agencies and things of that nature. And we come to make the change that you see today inside the community. So.
Okay, so are you all working with any parents?
Yeah, and I can deviate to Ashley about that. She can fill y'all more in about the parent aspect of what we do.
Yeah, thank you, Norman. I'm happy to. We absolutely
Excuse me,
work.
can you state your name?
My apologies. My name is Ashley Johnson. I am the secretary for the R.A.C.E Collective. We absolutely work with parents. To kind of piggyback off of Norman a little bit, the community meetings that you all have been hosting, there are many more people who would love to be in this room right now, but they don't have the bandwidth or the capacity to do that. We were the ones who stayed after the meeting, and we had the time to dedicate to be the group that took action out of that. We continuously have conversations about what's wrong in our community. We wanted to make sure that while that effort is well put together and we know that it comes from a good place, we need action to come out of it. And so that is where R.A.C.E Collective came from. So yes, we do have several committees, and I can put that on the screen for you all too. Violence and Criminal Activity Committee, the Parenting Committee, which I'm about to go a little deeper into, Housing Solutions, Community-Based, Employment Solutions, Transportation, Food Insecurity, and Health and Wellness. Specifically with the Parenting Committee, we know that parents are the glue for our children. If you do not have a healthy parent or parents in the household, the children, they're already behind before they even get started. A lot of the high-risk individuals or youth that we see in our community right now, they have plenty of ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. They have lost a parent to gun violence. They have witnessed violence in their homes. They have lost parents to incarceration. And so parenting is a huge part of the R.A.C.E Collective and just the initiatives that will come out of the R.A.C.E Collective. I would love to, I'm going to dive a little deeper into what the Parenting Committee looks like and how we push that work, but I would love to show you all a real life example of someone who has benefited from the parenting services that we offer through my own organization that's a part of the collective, the Street Widows Foundation.
Sam, I first found Street Widows about 2 to 3 months after my husband, my partner, and father of our child life had been stolen by the police. Getting this grief support helps me to be as best of a mom as I can be, and it helps me get through another day. Those days you feel like I can't even make it through this day, because the love, care, and support and understanding, that just already automatic understanding is already there, and it's meant everything, because other grief spaces just aren't safe. Street Widows is just completely different in that, and I just feel like I just already feel home. I feel like I'm with family. So it's really important for our kids to be able to have a space too, where they can talk about the grief and pain of not having their dad there every single day.
And how old are you guys?
6.
How do you love your mommy so much?
Because he's the only person I love. Because mommy takes care of me very much, and he even give me to drink water to be healthy.
Yeah.
I love that video because it truly, I think it's, let's see. Okay. I love that video because it shows children who benefit from our services and what that looks like when we are able to support mothers and they can in turn properly support their children. Speaking on behalf of the Street Widows Foundation, which is a part of the R.A.C.E Collective, I am the founder of Street Widows Foundation. The organization was founded after I lost my husband to gun violence February 19th of 2020, and there were not a lot of resources for me. I realized that I sat in a space of privilege in widowhood compared to my peers because I am college educated. I do have a master's degree. I was gainfully employed, am able to easily become gainfully employed, but that is not the situation for everyone who shares this widowhood journey with me. And so that is why Street Widows Foundation was founded. In the work that we do, I would like to point out that our top service areas are 40210, 40211, 40212. I'd also like to point out that the ages of our impacted youth are at the younger end of the spectrum, 1 to 9 years old, but we know studies show, research shows that when we intervene immediately after children experience trauma, we are able to prevent them from becoming justice involved youth. And so if we truly want to prevent violence and get ahead of it, we know who our highest risk youth are at the exact moment that the police are called to that scene for that father's homicide or that mother's homicide.
Okay, Councilwoman Shanklin has a question.
Yes. Hi, Ashley.
Hello.
I just want to know, what do you do with the youth? I mean, do y'all engage with them or just have meetings? I'm more so about the engagement that you guys have. What do you actually do with them? Because
Yes.
I'm in Newburgh. I have kids that I'm involved with, but I want to know, how do you get the youth engaged where they're not out there shooting, fighting, or whatever they're doing? I want to know that part.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question. I'd like to have DeShandre Waters come. I'd like to have DeShandre Waters speak on our youth involvement.
How y'all doing this afternoon? My name is DeShandre Waters. I'm the Director of Community Engagement with R.A.C.E, and I'm also the Program Director for Hope by Hope. Ms. Shanklin, our organization in Hope by Hope, we have programs that we know aid in violence intervention and or prevention. So we do engage our youth. We have a program called Opportunities for Options, which is a social, emotional, and a lifestyle choices program. We also have another program called Amateur to Pros. Amateur to Pros is a workforce development, mentorship, career readiness, and academic support. And we also serve justice-involved youth with our B-Boy program, which is bringing back our youth. So over the last 3 years, we've been in 8 different communities, in 12 schools, and we're currently in 6 with our programs now. And what our programs do is try to help our young individuals from before they even pick up the guns and also intervene in violence. Yes, we do mediation and a lot of those things, but we also engage in a lot of programming to keep them from being out into the streets. We do basketball leagues and programs. We work closely with the Dirt Bowl as well and the things that they do. So yes, yes, ma'am, we do engage the youth, and we do make sure that we're not just chilling with them. They're learning from being in these programs, you know what I mean? They're gaining skills, emotional regulation, emotional control, and also the support that they need.
Okay. I was asking because I have a group of kids that I'm bringing in here on the 28th. And to teach a child, you got to show them. You know, a lot of times you can't just sit and talk to them or have meetings. And one of the things that we're going to do, I've already asked the chief, can you come over and speak with these kids? These kids are fifth graders. They're going to be involved in, I think, Miss Woolrich's, her husband is a sheriff. He's going to bring the kids. I think when they're that age, young fifth graders, you've got to get them involved in, you know, other things. Maybe even bring them. One time I actually brought some kids in here to be council people, and they fought back and forth on a subject, which is the dog ordinance, which they're going to do today. And they got that experience. I'm just looking at how you can get these kids engaged into the community instead of, we talk to them, parents talk to them, but we have to show them different things. And basketball ain't always the only thing because they're not going to get rich off of basketball. There's very few. It might be one come from here, maybe Lamar Jackson or somebody, but that's about it. But that is football, but it's, a sport. We just need to take them places, show them something, and that's my big concern, because I have groups everywhere in Newburgh, but if they're not showing them, doing something with them, a lot of times it goes in one ear and out the other.
Ma'am.
So I'm just asking, when you get those kids involved, take them to see somebody that's already experienced or been through some of the bad times. So you could probably even take them to the courthouse and sit and watch what's going on in the courts. I'm just throwing out some things that I know kids have to do.
Yes, ma'am. You're absolutely correct. The first thing that we try to do is model exemplary behavior. So we are credible messengers, and as my colleague said earlier, we were perpetrators of some of the violence and some of the negative things in our community at one time. So them looking at us, they can see the change in the model of our behavior. Also, our programs all involve exposure trips. If we talk about emotional regulation, behavior control, then we put them in environments to express those things. We take them out to restaurants that they've never been in, and corners outside of the neighborhoods and the blocks that they're in. And also, we try to do more than just speaking and talking at them. The parents talk at them, the teachers talk at them, police officers talk at them. We try to engage them and keep them engaged more positively, interactively, you know what I mean? Being able to use the phones that they like so much, the technology that they like so much, to keep them immersed and not just feel like this is an extension of school. This person right here is an extension of my parent. They just telling me what to do. So we definitely hear your concerns, and we've been taking that, honestly, we've taken that seriously over the last several years, honestly.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next we have Councilwoman Purvis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all for being here. I'm trying to read your PowerPoint presentation, and a lot of it is in another language. So I didn't.
We've been joined by Councilwoman Shamika Purvis-Wright.
Would you like to show what page of the presentation that you're on? And I can pull it up.
I'm looking at the new products and services. That's in a foreign language.
Well, you all can be finding that.
Yeah.
While you looking for that.
I don't know if they knew, maybe when they submitted it and it translated into something different. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm happy to pull that page up on the big screen as well. 17.
Thank you.
I got a quick question real quick while she's looking over that page. Do you all plan to work with LMPD, and what does that look like?
I'm going to pass it back to Norman, please.
And before Norman speaks, maybe there was something lost in translation with the version that was shared with you all. This is page 17 of the presentation, but I'm happy to go back to the earlier pages so that you can see the details. The later pages in the presentation give you our name and our contact information. So while Norman speaks, I'm going to go back to the beginning of the presentation for you.
Go ahead, I'd like to.
All right, and yes, and so as far as when it comes to LMPD being involved, like we stick to the cause of this being racist community-led, right? So we feel that we are first responders when it comes to violence being perpetrated inside these communities. We are the first to see it, the first to know what's going on with it, and then it takes members of the community to dial out to 911. So us acting as first responders, we there, in preventive measures, and when it does come time to dial 911 and reach out for those services. So yes, we intend to work with LMPD, but like I say, we
Let me
consider
ask you this real quick. What about the community centers?
The
What are the community centers, the parks?
Yeah, like R.A.C.E is a collaborative, so we're open to, and we know that we need all of these institutions to make it successful for the community, right? So we are currently looking into reaching out to the community centers, the YMCA's, the libraries, all of the things that we have inside these communities, because one thing we notice is that it's going to take all of us. Nobody can do it alone. Like, it's going to take all hands on deck to really go after this violence that we see being committed inside our communities.
Okay, and then my last question, I'm gonna let somebody else ask. I gotta ask right before I came in here, it says 47 juveniles that have been indicted instead of 87 that was listed in the media. 39 out of 47 cases are black males. So the Commonwealth Attorney wants to take our juveniles, and predominantly black men, and send them straight to prison, charge them as a juvenile. What is your thoughts on that? Because I was just asked that, so I just wanted to ask you all that.
All right, I referred to Demetrius McDowell. He's one of the members on our committee with Bosses Not Bangers, and he'll come answer that question.
Can you come to the podium?
Sorry,
Yeah, you can come to the podium and answer that. And I want to know where you intend to get your kids from, because I know the department that we have under us currently. I think I just want to know where you all are gonna. How are you getting the kids that you are trying to? Because we need the high-risk kids. We
Yes,
don't want the
ma'am.
kids that's just. We need the high-risk, the shooters.
Yes, ma'am, and I can speak to that because I was an ex-gang member, ex-shooter. How you doing, Ms. Shanklin? With that, I go through the courthouse. I deal with prosecutors and judges. I was recently just contract with DJJ to receive juvenile justice-involved youth to provide programming with them. And with this indictment with on all of these juveniles is where we need to stop arresting the problem and have more program that stops recidivism. And we cater towards social media, making sure that we intervene in the problems. But for the most part, our credible messengers and influencers are the ones who are first responders. And with that, we intervene and prevent violence that way. But most of our high-risk individuals we get from the courthouse, CDW workers or prosecutors.
So kids also need therapy. Do you all have any therapy?
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna pass it over to our therapist if you want to speak with her. She's justice involved therapist. She used to work for JCYC and.
Okay, I don't need you to give her resume.
Okay.
Give it herself.
Assistant Director Shawita Smith.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Shawita Smith, Assistant Director, also owner of Total Life Counseling, community-based services. I was the community director at JCYC before they shut down. I was a probation officer for several years before going into mental health. So that's my background, working with justice-involved youth. So we provide community-based services. We're contracted with JCPS schools. We still go in the homes because that's important. We have in-office therapy. We're located right now inside of the YMCA on Broadway. And I'm also a board member there too. So right now, we're trying to implement family engagement into that community that involves the whole family. So that way, we have parenting programs, we have youth programs. Of course, I work with Demetrius to provide programs for justice-involved youth. We're also contracted with DJJ. So
Right.
our purpose is to provide trauma-informed care and address the root causes of violence. Most of these kids come from generational trauma. I was one of those kids. I'm from the west end of Louisville, California neighborhood. So I too came from trauma and was able to overcome that with education and more support. And I feel that the more support that these kids have, the better the outcomes would be. And as a collective, we're all coming together to provide those resources. Ms. Shanklin, you had mentioned providing things for the kids to do. Right now, we're trying to implement, well, I have implemented several after-school programs for the kids, wellness programs. I do nutrition classes, fitness classes, and I do that not only for the kids, but for the whole family as well. So I try to engage everybody as a whole and try to promote more community-led activities. And as a collective, that's what we plan on doing too, creating more programs and implementing more programs, not only for the West End, but across Jefferson County. So it's not limited to the West End. We can come anywhere and provide services. So our approach is evidence-based, it's trauma-informed, and we have case managers, therapists, community support specialists, and mentors that work with kids and the whole family. So I want to dive into some of our committees that we have as part of this collective. So we have several subcommittees, transportation, educational support, of course, the parenting committee, housing solutions, food insecurities, and community-based led organizations. So as a collective, we'll all be coming together to
Okay.
provide resources.
My colleague, Councilwoman Jenny Morvey Woolridge, she has a question, I believe.
Yeah, thank you. I guess my question is, I heard that they're right now in, I think, 8 neighborhoods and 12 schools and things. And I saw some of the zip codes around, like, I'm in the Okolona area, so Preston Highway, Outer Loop, and I know that's an up-and-coming juvenile crime area. And I don't have a place for those kids to go after school. I don't have a church, we don't have a community center. So I'm looking for ways to get these kids involved, get them out of the neighborhoods, right? So is that a place that you'd be willing to open up to go?
Absolutely, absolutely. We all service different communities, but collectively, we can come together to service all the communities. As far as mental health services, we do service kids in that area as well as the West End.
Yeah, I know that Ms. Shanklin and I, Dr. we were just talking about that a few hours ago, right? About the fact of our area is seeing a lot more of the youth violence, and we want to find a way to stop that and prevent it before it becomes an even higher number.
And there's several schools too that are willing to work with us and collaborate with us to provide services for the kids too, in our areas.
And I would like to, if I could, I would like to just supplement Shawita's answer to your question. The Street Widows Foundation, which is part of the collective, one of my favorite widows who we serve actually lives in the Okolona area. One thing about Street Widows is that we serve women who have experienced partner loss to any type of traumatic or unjust cause. Her husband or her fiance was lost in the Jivenine plant explosion, but she lives in the Okolona area, and she identified with us because it was an unjust cause of the loss of his life. And so she came to the foundation. We have been serving her and all 3 of her children since. So even if it's not particularly youth involved, we know that parent engagement supports youth directly. And I just wanted to speak that one of my favorite participants lives in your area.
Awesome.
And like, as she said earlier, we have to start with the head of the family, the parents, and not only the moms, the fathers as well, and try to get them more involved, because I see that that's a huge trend. Most of these kids lack fathers in the home. So that's our goal too, is to bring them, in the picture more.
Okay, we have Councilwoman Shamika Parish-Wright has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've been patiently waiting, excited. I'm in DC for work, but I definitely would be there with you all. But I just want to say it was so good to see Norman Parker and Demetrius McDowell. I know the work that you all been doing, and this is such a well-rounded presentation.
Councilwoman.
Am I back on? I'm sorry that it cut me off again. You all don't know the stuff I go through to try to get connected. But I just want to say that it's so well rounded, and from the working with the parents. I wanted to know, I might have missed it from the beginning. I know you're working with different groups. I know CAVE is doing some amazing work, Parents Against Violence, and I just want to say the way you've connected the dots with all of that really works. I am a 2-time gun violence survivor. I actually come from the streets and grew in my education and social justice, but it was programs like this and opportunities like this that saved my life, that saved my family life. And I know a lot of times young women are connected to violence, whether young men are protecting them or showing up or being proud. And so it's important to have programming that is speaking to the young women who might not know that they're the reason why violence is perpetuated, as well as the young men. And so I hope that I can tell right now that you're being very inclusive, that you're including that. And then the faith community as well. A lot of faith communities are dealing with this in different ways. And some people may not enter it from a point of faith, but there is connections to faith and spirituality and how people process and how they survive and how they thrive. And I'm looking at that audience and I see a bunch of survivors. I think we need more, and I want to see this work all over Jefferson County and how we as council people can support you. Because yes, the focus is on our young Black males that are in the certain zip codes, but this balance with youth, even with our immigrant youth, is happening all over the county. It isn't just isolated to there, but ours is disproportionately represented. And so while people are focusing on opening up a new juvenile jail, we know that that is a temporary thing. People will recidivate. That is a temporary thing as they navigate the judicial process. What solves violence is if those people are connected to ongoing support, care, education, and communities that helps them rise above it. So I'm very impressed to see all of you. You have my support. I just want to make sure the arms are connected to the faith and other groups like PAVE and other folks who are doing smaller work but need to be connected to what you're doing. Thank you.
And then,
Thank you.
Then if I could, just to touch on the faith aspect of it all, right? Like, there's so many lives that's been lost in these communities, right? To where faith is going to be a big part of it, because a lot of what we're seeing is retaliatory violence. And so you have to go in and really get deep and start, the topic's going to come up about forgiving death. So you're going to have to go in and, forgive the loss of a loved one, a brother, a sister, a parent, just to move past the violence. And so just touching on that, and I speak on it because I've dealt with it and come from it. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but when you talk about leading a community forward and leading your people forward, you pull back from some of the things that you would want to do, and you start looking at it as a whole and how to be detrimental to the community, your family, and the loss of the loved ones. And so the faith aspect of it is going to be a big part in it, and we look forward to taking on that challenge as well.
And I'd like to piggyback off of that. Thank you for mentioning PAVE. PAVE is one of our partners. Our chair of the, or co-chair of the parenting committee is a employee of PAVE. They do amazing work. When we established the parenting committee and who we would collaborate to reach our parents, PAVE was #1 at the top of our list. I'd also like to defer to Levi Morris because he could speak more to what you just brought up as well.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Can you state your name, please? Your
Yes,
position?
ma'am. I'm Levi Morris. I'm the president of Hope by Hope. And I just kind of wanted to speak on behalf of kind of like what you all was talking about. So Moore High School and Newburgh are actually two of the schools that we're actually doing in-school programming right now. And actually, to your point, about 3-4 years ago when COVID hit, we had to figure out how to mobilize our programming. And so pretty much wherever we see the need or someone was calling saying they needed us to come do help with the work or kind of come help mentor their youth, we was coming. So we mobilized our programming just to actually come fit for people like you, where if you know, we have an email or contact information where you can reach out and we'll come. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is you need to come do, whether it's run small groups, whether it's just a mediation, whether it's just a one-on-one, just a quick mentor session, we offer those 24/7. Like our phone don't stop ringing. Like if it's somebody calling at 2 or 3 in the morning, we getting up trying to figure out how we can make situations happen. We might call whatever relationships we do have. Maybe sometimes some of us call Councilwoman Hawkins all the time to try to see, hey, something's going on. And so it be us. It's not her. It's the people calling her to try to get her to get out to do what she needs to do to be a voice for us. And lastly, as far as when it comes to just kind of what you were saying, Ms. Shanklin, like we've worked in Newburgh over the last 2 years between PAVE and actually Hope by Hope. We actually have a whole impact report where we've worked with over 1,000 kids, 127 parents, and over 14 zip codes. And actually we work, it's an actually simultaneous program where the youth and parents are connected. So when we have youth programming, we have parent programming. And actually of those 8 neighborhoods that Mr. DeShandre mentioned earlier, we've actually piloted that program in 5 of those communities, and Newburgh is one of them.
Okay, I want to go ahead, and I got 2 people in my queue that wants to ask you all questions. Councilwoman Purvis, and then we'll have Councilman Ken Herndon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to know, do you all ever get an opportunity to go to Breckenridge Metro and Manor Daniels?
Yes, ma'am. It's crazy. Today, we actually had a privilege with one of our partners, Mr. Charles. He actually works for Power Inc., and they actually had a partnership with OVP, Power Inc., U of L, and Manor Daniels. And so I actually got to meet Ms. Baxter today, the principal of Manor Daniels. She had it was more students there, but they kind of had to all go back to school, but it was a mural. They had a project over a mural, over trauma-informed and stuff like that. And so we actually have a direct partnership with them through Power Inc. And with Mr. Huber at Breckenridge, I actually have 3 of his kids on my caseload now. And so so we're actually waiting on the process to get into Breckenridge right now. There's a lot of changes with how the stuff navigates with JCPS to be able to be a vendor. And so we're waiting on the process to go through to be an actual vendor. But yeah, them are the ones we want. Like Dawes High School, Iroquois High School, like those schools that traditionally the last couple of years have had a lot of these students that's either in and out the system, I just really don't care about school or whatever. Like those are the ones we want. Like we don't really.
Can I speak with you afterwards?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, Ken Herndon.
Thank you. Very briefly, just want to thank, it's been my pleasure, my honor to co-host these community conversations with Councilwoman Hawkins, and thank you for coming tonight, and thank you for coming to those. You clearly love your community, we do too, and we look forward to working with you in whatever way we can. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Real fast, we offer community-based services in those schools. So the problem right now with the MOA services and JCPS, they're not allowing the case managers to come into the school. So if we can change that, we can have more wraparound services, because right now they're only allowing mental health providers, such as the therapists, to enter the schools. But we need more people, the mentors, the case managers, and the CSAs to be able to come in those schools. So that's it.
Thank you. No other questions? Really appreciate you all.
Thank you
for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Clerk, can you read item 2 into the record, please?
A resolution calling on the Kentucky General Assembly to create Kids Over Guns Common Sense gun legislation in the jurisdiction and territory of Louisville, Jefferson County Metro Government, read in full.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
The item has been properly moved by committee member Donna Purvis and second by Ken Herndon. I believe the sponsor of this is Councilman Herndon. You want to speak to this? You have the floor.
Okay, very briefly, I know we got other items on the agenda, and we've got limited time. I will read a brief statement and then move on. A while back, as we were discussing Councilwoman Shanklin's resolution that asked parents and guardians to take better care of their children, I asked myself, if we are asking them to do this, why are we not asking ourselves as elected officials to do the same? And I began to make notes that night that led to this resolution. There's no single easy answer to address gun violence, and no part of our community that is immune. District 4 has recently had more than its share. But every child in every school in every district suffers the incalculable cumulative effects of active shooter drills, and their parents know it. We owe their children, who actually are our children, every effort we can muster with every tool at our disposal to address this problem. One tool that was taken away from us in 2012 by our state legislature was the ability for any Kentucky city to pass any local common sense gun laws of any kind. My resolution is a good faith effort to address this by asking Frankfort for a carve out to allow Jefferson County only the ability to do so, and not because Louisvillians are more violent than other Kentuckians. We are by far the state's largest city, and like all large cities, our size and density exacerbates human frailties. A family of 10 is much more likely to experience conflict than a family of 3. It's a natural human condition that has been successfully addressed in other cities and other states across our country. The First National Bank shooter, for example, left his roommate a note that unfortunately the roommate found too late. But with that note, the shooter exhibited some trepidation. Had there been a simple waiting period, currently not allowed by state law, those 5 people might still be alive, and that police officer who courageously charged the building that day may not have been gravely wounded. Surely we can agree on a few simple measures that better protect us all, especially our children. But the legislature has to allow us that opportunity. They have passed Jefferson County specific legislation before, and they can do it again, this time to our benefit and to the benefit of our children. At the end of the day, for me, the choice is clear. It's kids or guns, and I choose kids, and I hope you will as well. And I look forward to conversations. I've had many thoughtful conversations with thoughtful, serious colleagues before, 2 today as well. I look forward to continuing those conversations in the next 8 days before we have a full-blown discussion and debate on this issue on the 16th. Thank you so much.
Right, is anybody in the queue? Because I don't.
I am.
I can refer to my colleague, Councilwoman Jenny Murray Woolridge.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Councilman Herndon, for bringing this forward. I choose kids as well. I definitely agree with that. I can say that the conversations we've had, right, on this measure, there are a few things in here that I just can't agree upon, and that kind of caused me some angst. And again, we've had those conversations. I can say the Section 1, asking the General Assembly with urgency to address common sense gun legislation. I would like to work with them on that. I would like to ask them what they think of some of these and have the conversations before putting it forward, not knowing how it would ever come across. The Section 2 in regarding of segregating us, that concerns me, of just tailoring out a section of Louisville Metro and making us the unique. Are we unique? Yes, in many ways, but creating separation and standard for local jurisdiction is concerning. Second, for the Section 3, the reallocation of the funds. So what we do right now with the fact of the removing the prohibition concerning disposition of firearms, not only the disposition of those, but what happens with the selling of those. So what some may not be aware of, when those guns are sold, they are sold in a bulk, but the funds of those, actually, some of those funds go to the Attorney General, and what those funds do is help support things such as bulletproof vests, shields, and other protective gear for departments like J-Town or Airport Police, our Sheriff's Department, Middletown. But redirecting those could compromise our officer safety as well as operational readiness. So I have those concerns. We can continue those conversations. I'm fine with that. Again, Section 1, totally fine with, but would want to continue those conversations with yourself as well as with some of the people with legislation.
I look forward to it.
Madam Chair, I tried to be in the queue. I don't know if you see it. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I think that this is a good faith effort on. I promise I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but I have 5 bars on 5G and it always hangs up. But anyway, I think that this is a good faith effort on Councilman Herndon.
I'm sure it's some kind of accountability, like with insurance and whatnot, but they don't just let anybody in.
All right. So I don't see any more speakers in the queue.
I'm just saying. Okay, am I back?
Come on, Ms.
It is
Preswright.
terrible. Thank you.
All right.
I support this because I know that Councilman Herndon is trying to do what he can. This is a resolution. It is important to urge our state government to do right by our county, which is the economic generator for the state. And we need to be informing state legislators and lawmakers of what works here, what we need, the changes we need. So this is a step in that direction to do that. It doesn't change any safety for police officers. It doesn't dismantle or take anything away from their discretion or for them having the tools and all the things that they need. This is about making sure that we are doing our part as local legislators to bring this issue and make it a priority for our state legislators. I don't see any reason why this should not come out of committee with the work that's been done. And I've seen similar or other legislation that hasn't been held up for those reasons. That we can work it out. We will work it out. We have to work with the state government to get these things done. So this is nothing that should preempt them or stop them from doing their work. So I want to fully support this and ask that we get this out of committee. And if there's any other challenges or changes, we work on that before it becomes, before the.
All right. So I don't see anyone else in the queue, right? Okay. So hearing none, this is a resolution calling for a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, the item passes and will be moved to the consent calendar. Clerk, can you read item 3 into the record, please?
An ordinance amending Louisville Metro Code of Ordinances, Chapter 91, requiring microchipping of dogs and cats, read in full.
All right. Do I hear a motion and a second?
Motion.
All right, the item has been properly moved by committee member Betsy Rui and the committee member, who was that? Shanklin? Okay, Barbara Shanklin. I believe that the following individuals are here to speak to the item. That would be Director Clinton, Louisville Metro Animal.
Hey, Chair, could I just tee it up for Director McClinton, since Councilwoman?
Sure. I'll refer to you. Adam Hamilton, Louisville Metro. Okay. You want to stand up and, all right. State your name for the record.
It's Andrew McClinton. I'm the Director of Metro Animal Services.
All right, thank you. I'm going to refer to my councilman, Andrew Owens. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair.
Speak to this.
So we talked about this at the last meeting, and I just want to remind people of a couple things. Like I said previously, this is not something that came from Metro Council and we're trying to dictate down to the people. It kind of rose up out of primarily the animal welfare community. They reached out to us and said, what can we do to try to help LMAS with their situation that's primarily overcrowding of the shelters and therefore resulting in euthanasia of otherwise adoptable and healthy animals, which is just very difficult for a lot of people, including me, to get our arms around. So that's where this started, and we've been working on this for over a year. Councilwoman Purvis is a sponsor as well. And we've been working very closely with Director McClinton because we want to make sure that we didn't do anything that LMAS wasn't capable of implementing and enforcing. And so we've been working very closely with Director McClinton and Adam before that when he was the interim to make sure that we did that. But before I turn it over to Director McClinton, he's just kind of going to speak to that and talk about how this will work and how they'll be able to implement and enforce. I do want to just go back quickly and say the whereas clauses in this ordinance really do describe what we're trying to accomplish here. And I'll just read a couple of them. One, whereas jurisdictions that have implemented mandatory microchipping have seen measurable improvements in return to owner rates, reductions in shelter intake, and decreased euthanasia rates, that right there is a big thing that we're trying to address. So anyone who is an animal lover and cares about animal welfare should be in support of this ordinance. The other side of this is anyone who worries about stray dogs and cats wandering your neighborhood and creating an issue with people or spreading fear or that sort of thing should also be in favor of this ordinance because this helps reduce the number of animals on the street and get more animals back to their rightful owners in addition to reducing the number of animals in the shelter. So those are really what we're trying to accomplish here. I've talked to a lot of you between the last meeting and now, and really what I heard back from people, the only concerns that I heard back from people were what I mentioned before about implementation and what exactly this will do to help you guys and that sort of thing. So if you can talk about that and address those things for us, Director McClinton, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I believe it was Councilman Joseph that last time I was here asked about some stats, and I think these will kind of I'll go through these quickly and then give you a brief overview of kind of the process, because there was a few questions I was asked, so I'll start with those and then give you a quick process.
If I can intervene, because we're short on time.
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, so Councilwoman Blas and then Councilwoman Murray Woolridge before you do that, because the questions are most important. It depends on their vote.
I've kind of talked a little bit, just real quick. I just wanted to make sure in this, how is this going to affect and will the community cat ordinance fall under this? Like how cats are allowed to run free, they're allowed to have their community. A lot of feral cats come out of that. So how are we going to intertwine that into solving the problem there also?
That really didn't come up in our discussions as far as the community cats, because there's already an ordinance that addresses and deals with those. But this is more of if they're owned, that this would be for an owned pet, then that would where the mandatory microchipping would be is for an owned. But I'd be glad to look into it.
Well, that was kind of my problem, like we're splitting hairs because community cats are allowed to just roam free and wild and have their own homes, and feral cats cause a lot of issues in the community. Mm-hmm. And if we're going to penalize a homeowner over their cat or dog, then we need to look at that ordinance as well, as far as the cats being able to roam free. Thank you.
Thank you. My question is, so what is the cost of the chipping to the community and who does it?
Okay, so that is obviously a very important part. So Adam was able to come up with kind of, and this, trust me, this is just an estimate based off Adam's formula and just looking at some other data. So we estimate that you're looking at roughly the first year about 25,000 pets. That's dogs and cats. And at our cost for a microchip is $10. So obviously that's $250,000. We don't have that. I don't have that in my budget. Mm-hmm. But just the ways I think you that this plays out or we work with it is, I think you have to treat it kind of like the rabies vaccination. That law was passed, I don't know how long ago, and pet owners, when they register, get their license, they have to show proof of a vaccination, rabies vaccination. I think ideally, pet owners would go to their vet that they use, get their rabies, and then they would get the microchip inserted. Obviously, you're going to have sections, you're going to have people that cannot afford, so you have to have options for, people that can't afford the chip. So I would look at 4 or 5 different things to help offset, the cost for low income. We already do a lot of these things, but we would have to expand that. And I'll be glad to go into more detail, but we already do rabies clinics with council. You have to expand those. It would have to be, in my opinion, it would have to be about a year, 6 months to a year grace period, where you've got to allow people. I can't have 20,000 people come to the animal shelter. I don't have it can't do it. So you're going to have to spread it out over 6 to 12 months, I would say a year. And then we would set up a designated day once a month where we would offer the microchips at the $10 so people could come in. And then we do microchip clinics. We do rabies clinics where microchipping is done for free. We do that with you all throughout all the areas. A big part of this, you would have to go, we know 5 or 6 of the zip codes where we get the highest amount of strays, where we take in the most strays. This is where I would need council, I would need community partners. We would have to go into those communities and set up clinics in those communities and offer them at $10, or if we can get sponsors to offer it for free. But that'll be a big part as well as actually going mobile, going into the communities. And that's why I think you have to give people a year grace period to try and get caught up.
Okay, Councilwoman Parker?
Sorry, Tammy, one more question, sorry.
Okay.
Real quick, so as
we're
for
short on
the
time,
make
yeah.
up the licensing fees, is the licensing now going to be a longevity or lifetime? How do we make up for those fees? I know we're not going to have the cost now, that $250,000, right, you just talked about, and so that's where we maybe could have offset it with fees in the future, in the past.
So I encourage everyone to get the lifetime fee because I think the $25 is, it's a great incentive, it's a great deal. The more people that we get to get signed up, to get registered, to get licensed, I think that'll increase our revenue, obviously, because we'll have more people getting signed up. There will be an offset because the $25 fee, obviously that'll help us on the front end, but 3-5 years from now, yeah, that is going to affect the budget some. They'll still have to do the rabies vaccinations, they'll still have to get that done and show proof of that. But the whole goal would be to get more people registered, to get more people licensed, and that kind of goes along with DocuPet. But no, it would affect it, but we're hoping the $25 initial fee will help. And you're going to have a lot of people, hopefully not a lot of people, you're going to have people that don't want to do it because of the spay and neuter for other reasons. So I still think we'll have, and the unaltered license fee went up as a way to hopefully offset that as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Parker?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I would just like to say that my office, in conjunction with some other offices, we do these low-cost vaccine clinics about 3 times a year. I'd like to do more if we could get it done. But, and it's very low cost. And so I'm envisioning people not going just to get a microchip. But if they have a reason to go and get, rabies and distemper for $10 or $20, then they're not going to mind doing the microchip. So anyway, one question is, the high-risk zip codes, are those council people doing these low-cost vaccine clinics? Because
Yes.
those are the ones that really need to do it.
Yes. I don't have the exact list, but yes, we are in those communities.
Okay. And then statistically, you said that it does reduce intake. Do you know what the percentage of that is in other cities that that the reduction of intake has been if they've mandated microchipping?
I can't speak for the other, I can just kind of tell you what our numbers are very quickly. That's kind of what counts.
You can send them to her.
Okay. It reduces it a substantial amount.
Okay, and then one other question. How will all the veterinarians in the city, they need to be made aware that it's mandatory? So are you going to send a letter to them?
Yes, we have email tree letters. We're in contact with them, so yes, they will all get updated.
Okay.
All right, Councilman JJ.
Yes, sir, I know you to be a good man, a good leader with good data. Can you give me a couple of the data points that you think are relevant for this?
Yes, I'll just give you 2024. So you asked, what is the percentage of dogs that are not microchipped who make their way back home? So we had 5,857 strays come in without microchips. 769 went back to their owner. That's 13%. We had 964 strays come in with chips. 469 left with their owners, that's 49%. So if they're microchipped and the microchip is updated, it's a massive jump.
Okay, I have a quick question. So who's policing this? Because it's hard for us to police people. I'm just concerned how we're going to police animals.
Well, it's kind of the same way we do with the rabies vaccinations and if people are licensed. So if one of my officers is sent on a vicious dog or a stray dog and they come in contact with the owner, then they will look and see if they're licensed, if they have rabies, and now they'll look and see if they're microchipped.
Okay, I'm going to refer to last question, and that is Dr. Shanklin.
All right, thank you. Well, we all know that Metro government is known for writing ordinances and resolutions that can't be enforced. And I don't want to see this be another one that we've written that you can't enforce them. They have dogs running the streets now. You don't have enough officers. All the time I'll see dogs, and if we call in, nobody picks them up. They still roaming the street. Is this to make more money, or is this to actually be some kind of type of action where somebody's going to be picking up these dogs? Because the way I understand it, y'all don't have enough help now. And I see the truck sometimes, but there's dogs, there's pit bulls, and we've been dog ordinances. This is the third time we've had a dog ordinance, and none of them have been enforceable. So I just don't want to see another dog ordinance that's not enforceable, but just to make money. And so, and as you spoke about the money, how much you can make and all of that, I want to see some action. And if it ain't no action, we don't need to keep bringing these dog ordinances up, because I've been here 20 years, and in 20 years, there's been 3 different ordinances on dogs, and none of them have been enforced.
No, we will be able to enforce it. And the reason I want to do this, and this started well before me, is I have to free up staff, and I have to free up my officers. I have to free up, the bottom line is, we're going to go over 10,000 this year in intake. That is going to be a record. A good way to do that, to lessen the intake, and that's my main goal. The money part is the money part, but I need to lessen the amount of animals in that shelter. And the microchipping, mandatory microchipping will do that.
All right.
And the enforcement part is what I said earlier. If we respond and they're not microchipped, then we will, they'll have an extra amount of time to get in compliance, they get cited, and they go before the court.
I will support this.
Thank you.
But I would like to see some action.
I agree.
And I'm going to check to see if there's action being done. Thank you.
All right, I don't see anyone else in the queue. Hearing none, this is the ordinance calling for a roll call vote. Clerk, will you please open the voting?
Councilwoman Pierce Wright?
Yes.
I can't get
Clerk?
Councilwoman Shanklin?
I lost mine. Yes.
Vice Chair Hawkins, you have 7 yes votes.
All right. Hearing none, this item is passed and will be moved to the old business.
Vice Chair Hawkins, point of order. Can I,
Oh, okay. It'll be going to consent, sorry.
I'd like to say, if I can record my vote as present for action item number 2.
This is Sonia Howard, the clerk. He's asking the item to be reconsidered so that we could do a roll call vote, ma'am.
Yeah. That's fine.
Okay. Amy, will you read item number 2 again for us?
A resolution calling on Kentucky General Assembly to create Kids Over Guns common sense gun legislation in the jurisdiction and territory of Louisville, Jefferson County Metro Government, read in full.
Hold on one second. Can you please explain this real quick? Because I have the sponsor wanting to know why we're doing this.
So we're going to do just a few votes. First of all, we're going to do a vote to reconsider the item, just so that, I know that Councilwoman Mulvey Woodward, she said no. We didn't hear her, but my clerk's heard her.
Got it.
And he wants to vote present. And to be able to record that, we need it to be roll call rather than a voice vote.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah. So the first vote we're going to take is, will we reconsider it? So if you'll ask for a vote for that.
All right.
A voice vote.
Can I have a voice vote to reconsider? A motion? No. Okay. All right. Can I hear a voice vote? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Okay. Right, at this point.
Councilwoman Pierce Wright.
What is this part for?
This is for
for
item 2.
reconsideration or to vote?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a yes to,
a yes vote, yes or no vote to pass the legislation regarding the guns and kids.
thank you for that. Yes.
Councilwoman Shanklin.
Is to vote for it or?
For the guns?
Huh?
The gun resolution.
The gun resolution.
Yes. My computer's.
Yeah, we good?
She's going to announce it.
Vice Chair Hawkins, you have 5 yes votes, 1 no vote, and 1 present vote.
All right, the item passes. It will be moved to the consent calendar. Old business. All right, the last one. Clerk, will you please read item 4 into the record, please? All right, Councilwoman Chample, Vice Chair, can you please just give us a few more minutes? We're running over. Sure. Thank you. All right, Clerk, can you please read item 4 into the record, please?
An ordinance creating a new section of Chapter 36 of the Louisville Metro Code of Ordinances to establish the Louisville Parks Police, read in full.
All right, do I hear a motion and a second? All right, item has been properly moved by committee member Betsy Ruiz, second by Councilman JJ. This item is before us. I believe the following individuals are here to speak to this today. Will you introduce yourself? And you have the floor. State your name for the record and your position.
Yes, ma'am. Bridget Fraley. I'm the Executive Administrator of Park Safety.
This is not going.
James Brown, the Chief Park Ranger for Louisville Parks and Recreation.
All right. Do anybody have any questions? Hey, no questions. Right, I don't see any speakers in the queue, hearing none. This is an ordinance calling for a roll call vote.
Committee Member Pierce Wright.
Present.
I could do this. Yes.
Yes. Vice Chair Hawkins, you have 6 yes votes and 1 present vote.
All right, the item will be passed and moved to old business. Hearing none, our next regular scheduled public safety meeting will be held Friday, October the 22nd, 2025 at 4 p.m. Thank you all for your time today. Sorry about the parks. What up?